Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another live stream today. We are going to be talking about chicks. So, if you guys have any questions uh, about incubating chicks, raising chicks, anything to that effect, go ahead and ask them. I should have all of comments and stuff fixed. So, if you ask on Facebook or on YouTube, anything like that, it should come up and populate. So I'm doing a little bit differently this week in the office, and I do have our chick cam set up, as you can see. So they are hanging out. They are getting super, super big. It's incredible how big they're getting. So they'll be in there for only another few weeks before we basically put them into the larger yard area. So without anything else or any questions until those come up, I did kind of want to go over for those of you who haven't or have no experience in raising chicks, just kind of go over a few things about chicks, but where to start with raising them, any sort of equipment that you need, anything like that. But please, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, go ahead and put them in the chat and we will get those answered for you while we're talking about it. So, yep. All right. Sorry, it is also super windy, so that's another reason why I am inside and not outside. And it's a little bit cold, so that helps. But anywho, so first things first, when you're raising chicks or trying to incubate them, is you need eggs. Now, if you have a farm like we do, you can get you have a rooster, you can just pick chicken eggs, which is really easy, and then you just go to incubate them. If you don't have that and you're starting out and want to incubate your first batch, you can go to different websites, hatcheries like Meyer Hatchery. That's M-E-Y-E-R. That's Meyer Hatchery. I'll put it up on the screen for you. They actually can sell hatching eggs or chicken hatching eggs. They can do a lot of different things like guinea hens, hatching eggs, all sorts of things. But they can supply you with hatching eggs if you need that. They are usually really good. And then I would suggest at least getting 6 and ideally 12 to start off with, because your hatch rate is just not going to be great to begin with, and you want at least a rooster and a hen to keep everything going. More than likely you'll get with at least 6, but 12 would be ideal. If you are collecting eggs from yourself, from your own farm like we do, just to keep in mind something, that if you collect eggs, your hens will be fertilized or fertile for up to like 2 weeks, I've heard it said. So from when your hen and rooster, get together. So your rooster doesn't need to be out there all the time. Your hen so. But all you need to do is make sure to pick your eggs. You want to keep them ideally between 5 and 6, and ensure them you put them in the refrigerator if you're going to incubate them. That will lead to hatch rate issues. So and I might switch cameras here, so I apologize. But basically, yeah, if you need to keep, you can collect eggs for up to 7 days. So if you really get like 3 eggs a day, and then you collect them for up to 7 days, just keep them in a bowl on your counter. That's what we do. And then you can incubate those after a week. I like to keep it to a max of about 5 days, and keeping them in a bowl, just because that keeps them better for longer. So yeah, so after you get all those, then all you got to do is get an incubator. We have an incubator from Tractor Supply. It holds about 21 eggs or so. I will see if I can find the one that we use for you guys here while I'm talking. But really, you can get a variety of different incubators. You can get ones that are good for like 6 eggs, ones that are good for 12 eggs. Ours is good for, I believe, about up to like 40 something eggs. Can't spell. But let's see here. I'll share screen. Sorry, and I can show you. Okay. And there we go. Oh, that's awesome. All right. So this is Tractor Supply, and you can see just even from this website, they have a bunch of different options. You can get this Harris Farms one for $150. It does a lot of different things, and it's very, very good at what it does. Let me actually turn this banner off 1 second. Sorry, so it's easier. This is really good. I have never used one, but I've heard good things. It does automatic turning and a bunch of different things. You can also get one of these here. This is what we have, and it does about 50 eggs or so. But it's definitely a really nice one. It's okay, I should say, but it works really good for what it is. It automatically turns, automatically controls temperature. The one thing that it does not do is automatically control humidity. It's got little, I don't know if I can select pictures on here, but it's got little trays. You got to actually open it up and pour water inside to adjust the humidity. So it's kind of annoying, but it works. So, yeah. There we go. I don't know if you can see. It doesn't have pictures inside. Anyway, go back here. So that's basically the incubator. Incubators, super easy. Let me adjust this here. Yeah. So you just got to get one to work. You can get something really expensive. They do have Ova Easy is another one that works really well. They are super expensive. I want to say they're about like $500. Those are nice though because they do control temperature and humidity. Of course, the only one I can find on Amazon right now is like $1,200. It's made by a company called Brinsea. But those are really nice. So, anywho. Hey, Larry. Hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, glad you guys are here watching. Got to get you guys to get some chicks over at y'all's house. I'm not sure Nancy would like that very much, but anywho, so yeah, once you get the incubator, and it's probably something you should look at getting first, just so you're prepared and ready for it. Then you're going to be loading eggs into your incubator. Back up. Before you start loading it up, you're going to want to turn it on and get it running for at least a day. Just make sure you get your temperature and your humidity correct. And after that is all adjusted, set, and everything, then you can start loading eggs in. This is the most important part about raising chicks is your temperature and humidity for incubating eggs, because it can affect your sex in some breeds, but it can affect your hatch rate. And that is so your temperature really needs to be basically between 99 and 100 degrees. Or sorry, 100.5, I should say. So that is super important in your hatch rate. So I didn't want that on there. So 99 and 100.5 degrees. That's very important for your hatch rate. If you get higher than that, lower than that, it can really lower that or change which kind of breed you're going to get depending on which sex you can get depending on your breed. And that will stay consistent throughout the 21-day incubation period. Now, the other thing that you're going to want to adjust is your humidity. Your humidity should be about 50% for the first 1 through 18 days. And then after that, from day 19 through 21, it should be about 70%, which is probably about the max that you're going to be able to get with any incubator. And so really got to just pump that thing up like crazy to be able to get that humidity. And this is super important. You don't want to raise that humidity too early or raise it too high in general, because it I don't understand it exactly, but basically that can cause the chicks to kind of like drown almost is the best way to describe it. So you want to make sure to watch that very carefully. Also, I found that the humidity indicators on some of these incubators are not the best and are not super accurate. So that's very important to watch that. Let's see here. So also when you load an egg into the incubator, you've got it all preheated, you've got the humidity correct. You want to make sure that the pointy end of the egg is going down. It's going to be hard to tell on some eggs, but just do your best. And that's because when they do start incubating and start growing, you're going to get an air bubble that it's going to rise to the top, and it's going to be in the top section if it's oriented correctly. So that's super important. So as your eggs start going, you're going to have basically go one of two routes. So if you have an automatic turning machine or automatic turning incubator, like some of those ones we showed you earlier, you won't have to deal with this at all. It automatically turns your eggs. But if you don't, and you're going to be manually turning your eggs, you want to make sure to mark, just put an X with a pencil, something like that. You don't want to use marker because that'll go through the shell. Excuse me, but some sort of a pencil marker on it, because you do need to turn the eggs at least 3, preferably up to 5 times a day. So that is super important to do that, because that'll keep the yolk and the placenta from basically sticking to the side of the egg. And if it sticks there, you're going to have issues with hatching, and the chick just won't survive. So that's super important. But yeah, 3 to 5 times a day, and you do that all the way from days 1 through 18, and you don't stop. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. And that is basically it for the first week. After you get them in, you just let them be, and don't touch them. Just make sure to keep that humidity going properly and the temperature. And then after 1 week, you're going to open it up, and you're going to do what's called candling the eggs. So this is where you're going to take a special candling flashlight, and you're going to look at the eggs. I will pull up a picture here so you guys can see this. But this is going to tell you if your eggs are actually going to be fertile, if they're going, or if they're not. So this is going to be from Incubator Warehouse. I'll go ahead and share this to you guys. So as you can see here, and I'll zoom in on this for you, you can kind of see if you're going to candle your eggs at day 7, it's going to be somewhere between these top right pictures. You're going to be able to tell if your eggs are fertile and if they're growing, because you're going to actually see these veins in the eggs themselves. And so that's super important to make sure if you see that. If you see eggs that look like that day 3 on the top left with nothing in it, then you're going to want to remove them from the incubator. That's super important because they can spoil. And so just to make sure it's not confusing or anything, just want to make sure to get rid of these eggs altogether from the incubator. So yeah, so you get those, and after day 7, you taking out all the bad eggs, you keep the good eggs. Then yeah, that's basically what you want to do at day 7. After that, sorry, I got distracted by something here. What you're going to do is leave it be. So from day 7 through day 18, day 7 through day 14, it's very similar to the first week. You do almost nothing. Once you get to day 14, you're going to go ahead and candle the eggs once more, just to make sure that they're still growing. If they haven't changed since your last candling, if they still look exactly the same than they did before, then you're going to have an issue. If you remember looking at that picture, and I'll go ahead and bring that up one more time for you. They will look different from day 7, so this top right, to day 14. You're going to see a lot more development in those eggs. So super important to see that difference. And if they still look like day 7 up here in the top right, do the same as before and just go ahead and throw those out. So, yep. So basically that will take you all the way up to day 18. At day 18, like we said before, pretty simple. All you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and pump up that humidity as high as you can to 70%. And the real reason for that is that it's going to soften up the eggshells a little bit and really create, make those eggshells easier for the chicks to get out when it's time to hatch. Because you'll notice they will hatch pretty, like, it's amazing. At day 21, they'll hatch. Now, you may get some that take another day or so to come out, and that's normal. But for the most part, they're all going to come out day 21. So, and then, so also at day 18, other than pumping up the humidity, you're going to want to stop turning them. And that's because you want them to start orienting themselves and be able to start pecking out of their shells. Big thing here is with that automatic turner from Tractor Supply, like we showed earlier, that would be this guy. It has this automatic turning tray inside of it. And the big thing with this is I struggle with what to do with this exactly. So I ended up taking this whole turning tray out completely. And then I just set the eggs inside of the incubator because there's like a grating that's there underneath this. And that way, when they hatched, they aren't having to jump over these different like holes. And I was just afraid that they were going to break a leg or trip or something. I didn't want them to hurt themselves when they were doing that. So you can do that if you have a different kind of incubator that doesn't have those deep holes where it turns, like the one that spins and turns the eggs. Then you can just stop it from turning, and that would solve it too. Yep. So then at day 21, they're going to start popping out of their shells. You'll notice some pipping on just where they start pecking with their beak to get out. And then they zipper is what they call it around the shell. It is super cool to see basically the chickens start to open up. And then once you'll see them pecking or zippering around the top of the shell. And eventually they start like popping that top of that shell off almost. And then they'll pop out of the egg. You can see if you check out on YouTube, if you guys are watching on Facebook or something, I had a video a few weeks ago when we hatched these eggs, these chicks here, and it shows when they hatched about a month ago now. You can see how they got out of the shells. There's a pretty good video of it included in that week's video, so you can see that. But it's pretty cool to watch. And then after they hatch, this is also super important. After they hatch, you want to make sure that that you keep them in the incubator for at least 24 hours. That's very important because they got to dry off. They're still super wet from being inside of an egg, and they have to dry off in that incubator. You'll know that they're ready to go to their brooder once they have feathers that are dry and they're starting to move around a bit. So, and then, dried out, you can move them to the brooder, which we have in our garage. It's separate. And it's super, it's nice. That's what they're in right now, actually. They've been in that since they were about 24 hours old. And they'll stay in that for about 6 weeks. Excuse me. They theoretically could go outside right now because they're fully feathered, or at least 90%. But it's so cold and they don't need to be outside yet. So I'm just giving them a little bit more time inside in the warmer temps before they go out. So, yeah. But anywho, as we finish up talking through the process here, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, just go ahead and post them. Let me know, and I will answer them. Even if it's after the fact and you guys are not watching this live and you're watching the posted video, go ahead and post them, your questions, and I'll get to them here, and I'll answer them for you. I tell you, we never done this. We never hatched chickens before. We've read a lot about it, done a lot of research about it. They're so curious about that camera. It's so funny. But so when we finally did it, and I did it ourselves, it is one of the coolest things to witness. But, you know, second to, you know, your kid being born, but otherwise it's really cool to see. And it was really cool to involve our kids in it. Our daughter, she got to go in and see some of the chicks being, you know, hatched and born, and so that was super cool to be able to see and be able to involve them in. So I was pretty excited about that. So yeah. And so like we mentioned before, our goal with hatching chicks is to be and one of our big goals as a farm, and what we promote on our channel here, is that we want to be self-sustainable, right? And so we're hatching these out, and we're trying to get as many roosters, or sorry, wow, I just jinxed myself. Trying to get as many hens as possible out of these, so we can produce eggs. And you know, because right now we only have eight hens out there at our farm, and so we're trying to increase that. But if we do have roosters, we'll raise them till they're about full size, so about 2-3 months. And if it's a nice rooster, like not a jerk, we'll keep it and, you know, get rid of Fabio. But otherwise, we'll basically, we're gonna, you know, butcher them, and they will become food. I know it sounds terrible, but that's the goal, right? Is we want to be sustainable and in our food, and so this is one way to do it, and that's to have homegrown, you know, healthy, organic, I guess, food, you know, free range chicken. So happy chickens make good eggs and good meat. So that's kind of the goal with our chickens. I personally would love to hatch duck eggs, but because we do have a male duck, a drake, but my wife has said no to that after the last live stream. We were talking about chicks. So I would love to do it. I think it'd be interesting, but yeah, maybe we'd sell, you know, duck hatching eggs, or even sell ducklings or something like that someday. I don't know. The ducks are super cool, but other than giving duck eggs, they aren't. We're not going to cook the ducks or slaughter them, but they are super cool animals. I just love the ducks, especially the goose. So, and if you guys are interested in getting a guard goose, or kind of looking at geese in general, make sure to check out this Friday's video. We're going to be talking about Clarence, our guard goose, why we got him, talk about geese in general, like their traits, and why they are used as guard geese, and the history of that, which is super interesting. So make sure to check that out. That'll be out Friday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So, but yeah, I don't think we'll ever raise geese. That's a lot of work, and it's not worth it. I've never eaten a goose egg before. I don't know if that would be good necessarily. So anywho, so that's kind of the plan. That's where we're at with our chicks and everything else like that. So as far as other than chicks here, for an update at the farm, our goats kids are now 11 weeks old. They're almost 12 weeks old. They'll be 12 weeks old at the end of this week. So our a boy that's going to be a wether, which is a castrated male, basically, he's going to get the rubber band, and we're gonna castrate him. Is how you do it with goats, at least goat kids. Use a rubber band, and we're gonna make a video about that, and that'll be out next week. But the hard part about that is just gonna be holding him. He does not like to be held. So yeah, so that's going well. Everyone is healthy. It's been really cold and windy and rainy here recently. So unfortunately, no snow. I was kind of hoping for a white Christmas, but none of that. So, yeah, we'll do that and go from there. We're also looking at upgrading our chicken coop. The story behind that is we actually got a chicken coop. We've had lots of different chicken coops throughout the years, but the one we have now, we thought, hey, we'd buy this vinyl shed from Costco, and it would be a great coop, right? It'd come together, it'd be super strong, sturdy, and then we'd keep it and use it. But come to find out, it's a terrible coop and a terrible option. The coop is not good, or the shed is not good for a coop. It just does not do well. It's just a disaster and is not worth the money to spend on it. So what we're going to end up doing is getting a wood shed from Lowe's. They have sheds that you can get for fairly inexpensive, for $1,500 to $2,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, and that you can either have built by them or you can build yourself. And so what we're going to do is get one of those that's probably about an 8x8 or an 8x10 and turn that into a chicken coop. That way we can add sides where we can get the eggs without having to go in the coop, and we can design it a little bit better from the ground up. The other thing that will change about it is the coop right now that we have is on the ground level. So there's it, and I say that because the one that we had in Buckeye in Phoenix was about 1.5 feet off the ground, and that was super useful because when it got hot or it got windy or rainy, the chickens could just go underneath the coop. They had a built-in shade area. We had to build a shade area here for our chickens, but if we had more, that'd be really useful, especially if we had more chickens. So we're going to put in some concrete footers and put that up. That'll probably be in a couple months. It's not going to be anytime soon. We'll have to get all of the chickens will have to be raised and in the single flocks. That way we can do that because it's going to take a lot of work, and we're going to have to destroy that mono coop before we put up the new one. So we want to be ready and prepped for that. Otherwise, that's pretty much all that's going on from here. We are going to do a video on our bees, which is the bees are so interesting. We went and checked on them. My dad was here for a while, for a few days, my dad and my mom. And so we went and checked on them yesterday, and they're doing well. We were afraid that they were actually going to get frozen or something, because it was so cold. And they're so new to us, but they're doing fine. They did not like getting exposed to the cold air, though. Come to find out, they were super pissed off at me. So I opened the top, and as soon as I pulled out a frame, it right to my face. Thankfully, I had my bee suit on, so that was good. But yeah, so otherwise the bees are doing good, and just I want to thank one of the groups is called Hives for Heroes. They are awesome. And they basically help educate veterans and stuff on bees and how to raise bees. And they have all sorts of programs. They even have a class that you can get now through Michigan State that's free, that you can learn about how to become a beekeeper and raise your own bees. Super awesome group. They're super helpful. If I ever have a question, they have a Facebook group, so I can ask them, and they are super responsive. So if you are a veteran, you're watching this, you're interested in raising bees, you don't have to agree to get a hive to join the group, but they can educate you and help you learn about bees. I'd recommend looking them up on Facebook, Hives for Heroes, they're on the banner, and they will help get you set up. They're super nice people, super helpful. So check them out. But otherwise, the chicks or the bees are doing really good. We just have to be better at feeding them sugar water more routinely, especially during the winter, so that way they have plenty of food and can survive when it's cold. Because they won't go outside as much, so they have to rely on what's inside, aka honey that they've already made or sugar water that we provide them. So that's super huge. But we'll do that. We'll talk about that. Talk about raising bees in the live stream that week as well, and then have a good description video on starting your own bees and that kind of stuff. Because there's a lot to it, and I am still only know about 2%. But of that first 2% is a huge learning curve, and just getting started and what everything is called. But I'd recommend it for everyone. It's super interesting and fun. Bees are awesome. So. Anywho, that's that as far as channel update. We're going to do a video on clearance, on the banding of the goats. We're going to talk about chicken waters and best and worst chicken waters and options you have coming up. We're going to be talking about composting on the farm. That's a huge one, especially with the new California law that came out or is going to be coming out. That's super exciting. And then at the end of the month, we're going to do something new. We're going to do a farming meme review. Should be pretty funny. I've been finding and looking up some really good memes. So I hope you guys enjoy that. That should be pretty entertaining. So anywho, without further ado, I will be headed out here soon. I'm going to go work on the garage, check on the bees, help with the kids, that kind of stuff. But if you do have any questions, issues, you can always reach me on the Facebook group, Lacey Family Farms, or you can email me at that email down below on the screen. If you have any questions, anything, be sure to check that out. We do have a lot of stuff coming up this year, a lot of exciting news and that we are excited to share and to talk about. So make sure to tune in. Make sure to say subscribe on YouTube. That's the best way to know about all of our stuff coming out, and turn on the bell notifications so you do actually get notified when the videos do come out each week. So otherwise, that being said, we will catch you guys next week on a live stream. Probably going to be talking about banding goats just because that's going to be happening next weekend. And yeah, but anywho, let us know if you have any questions, and we'll talk soon. For now, I'll leave you with the chicks.